They say that turning 50 is like crossing a bridge where your body begins to whisper things you never noticed before. For many people, those whispers are about the heart. Maybe it's that tightness in your chest when you climb the stairs. Maybe it's the blood pressure reading at the doctor's office that isn't quite as good as it used to be. Or maybe it's simply the nagging thought when you read yet another headline about heart disease being the leading cause of death for people over 50. And then, right when you're trying to take better care of yourself, you hear confusing advice everywhere. One day you're told eggs are bad for your heart, loaded with cholesterol that clogs your arteries. And the next day you read that eggs are actually healthy, packed with protein and essential nutrients. For seniors who grew up in the era when doctors warned everyone to avoid eggs, the confusion can be overwhelming. I want to talk to you about this honestly, in a way that cuts through the noise, because the truth about eggs and heart health isn't black or white. It's nuanced, and it's important that you hear it now, not later. When I was younger, I remember my father pouring his morning coffee and cracking two sunny side up eggs into the pan almost every day. Back then, he believed what everyone believed. Eggs were a simple, hearty, and affordable breakfast. But then in the 1980s and 1990s, the message shifted. Suddenly, eggs were vilified, and households like ours started limiting them or replacing them with egg substitutes from a carton. My dad used to sigh and say, "How can something that's been around forever suddenly be bad for us?" And he wasn't wrong to ask. Now that I'm older and I pay closer attention to my own heart health, I realize that so many people my age carry the same uncertainty. So let's clear the air. What does science really say about eggs in the heart? Here's the first fact. Eggs do contain cholesterol. A single large egg has about 186 milligrams of cholesterol, mostly found in the yolk. That number used to scare people because dietary cholesterol was once thought to directly raise blood cholesterol levels, the kind that contributes to plaque in the arteries. For decades, this simple connection shaped our habits. But here's the twist. Modern research shows that dietary cholesterol does not affect blood cholesterol as strongly as we thought. In fact, for most healthy people, eating eggs has only a modest impact on blood cholesterol. The body is smarter than we give it credit for. When you eat more cholesterol from food, your liver often produces less cholesterol internally to maintain balance. But, and here's where I get personal, not all of us are most people. Some individuals, especially those with type 2 diabetes or a genetic condition called hyperresponders, can see a greater spike in LDL cholesterol after eating eggs. This is why context matters so much. If you're over 50, dealing with diabetes, high cholesterol, or a family history of heart disease, you should not simply assume that eating unlimited eggs is safe. Instead, you need to pay attention to your own body's response through regular checkups and blood tests. One of the best things you can do is talk to your doctor about how eggs fit into your diet, because your numbers, not the headlines, will tell your story. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin, because eggs are far more than just cholesterol. They are nutritional powerhouses. A large egg has about 6 grams of high-quality protein, which is incredibly important for seniors. After 50, we naturally lose muscle mass, and protein helps preserve strength, mobility, and independence. Beyond protein, eggs provide essential vitamins like B12, riboflavin, and folate, all crucial for energy metabolism and red blood cell production. They're also one of the richest natural sources of choline, a nutrient that supports brain health and may help keep memory sharp as we age. And when it comes to heart health specifically, eggs are packed with antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which not only protect the eyes, but also reduce inflammation that can damage blood vessels. Isn't it fascinating that the same food that was once demonized for harming the heart actually contains elements that protect it? I remember sitting in a waiting room at my cardiologist's office a few years ago. A woman sitting next to me, probably in her 70s, turned and asked me, "Do you eat eggs? My daughter keeps telling me to stop." That simple question led to a 30-minute conversation about how food isn't just about one nutrient, it's about the whole picture. I told her what I'll tell you. The impact of eggs on your heart depends on what else is on your plate. If you're eating eggs with bacon, sausage, buttered toast, and hash browns every morning, the eggs are not the biggest problem. It's the combination of saturated fat and processed meat that really pushes your heart risk higher. On the other hand, if you're eating eggs with vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats like avocado or olive oil, you're creating a heart-friendly meal. Context is everything. So, how many eggs can you safely eat after 50? The American Heart Association suggests that for most healthy adults, 1 egg per day can fit into a heart healthy diet. Some studies even show that up to 7 eggs a week do not increase the risk of heart disease in healthy individuals. But let's be clear, more is not always better. If you already have high cholesterol, your doctor may recommend fewer eggs or may suggest you emphasize egg whites, which have protein without the cholesterol of the yolk. For me personally, I enjoy about 5 to 6 eggs a week, but I pair them with heart-healthy sides like spinach, tomatoes, or oats, because I know it's not just about the egg, it's about the meal. And here's where the conversation gets even more hopeful. Eggs are one of the most affordable sources of high-quality nutrition available. As seniors, many of us are mindful of our budget, and finding foods that give maximum nutrition without straining the wallet is a real blessing. Compared to expensive protein powders or supplements, eggs are a gift. The key is moderation and smart preparation. Boiled, poached, or lightly scrambled with minimal added fat are great options. Frying eggs in butter every morning isn't the best idea if your goal is protecting your heart, but steaming or poaching them alongside fresh greens can transform the same egg into a heart-supportive choice. I want to pause here and ask you something. How do you usually eat your eggs? Are they part of a balanced breakfast, or are they riding along with foods that weigh heavy on your heart? Leave a comment below and let's share ideas, because your way might inspire someone else to make a small change that could protect their health. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more clear, practical insights like this. We're building a community where seniors can thrive together. Now let's talk about myths, because they can be stubborn. One myth I still hear is that egg yolks should always be avoided. People throw away the yolks and eat only the whites. But here's the truth. The yolk is where most of the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants are found. If you completely avoid yolks, you miss out on choline, vitamin D, and omega-3s that support brain and heart health. Instead of banning yolks entirely, think about balance. Maybe 2 whole eggs with an extra egg white so you get the best of both worlds, protein plus the golden nutrients of the yolk without too much cholesterol in one sitting. Another myth is that eggs raise the risk of stroke. The reality is more complex. Large studies show that moderate egg consumption is not linked to higher stroke risk, and in some cases may even lower it because of the nutrients I mentioned earlier. But once again, lifestyle matters. If you smoke, are inactive, or carry a lot of stress, no single food, including eggs, can offset those risks. That's why eggs should be part of a bigger heart-healthy lifestyle, which includes regular physical activity, stress management, and a diet rich in vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and lean proteins. One personal story I'll share is from a friend of mine named Robert. He's 62, and a few years ago, his doctor told him his cholesterol numbers weren't looking good. Robert panicked and cut eggs out completely. But what he did instead was load up on processed low cholesterol foods that were high in sugar and refined carbs. The result? His weight went up, his blood sugar worsened, and he felt tired all the time. When he finally sat down with a nutritionist, he learned that eggs were not the villain. His overall diet was. Today, Robert eats eggs regularly again, but with vegetables and whole grains. His numbers improved, and he feels more energetic. This is the kind of real-life shift that shows why balance is more important than fear. So where do we land with eggs and heart health after 50? Here's the simple truth. Eggs are neither miracle food nor poison. They are a nutritious, versatile, and affordable part of a balanced diet. For most seniors, eating up to 1 egg a day is safe and even beneficial, especially when paired with a heart-conscious lifestyle. But if you have specific health concerns, like diabetes, very high cholesterol, or a history of heart disease, you should work closely with your healthcare provider to tailor your egg intake to your needs. What matters most is not the single food, but the consistent choices you make day after day that build or break your heart health. Before we close, let me encourage you with this thought. At 50, 60, 70, and beyond, your heart is not just an organ, it's the rhythm of your life. Every beat carries your memories, your laughter, your love for family and friends. Protecting it is one of the greatest acts of self-care you can choose. And the beautiful truth is that you don't need complicated diets or expensive products to do it. Simple, whole foods like eggs, when enjoyed wisely, can support your journey toward a longer, stronger, and more joyful life. If you found this conversation valuable, please share it with a friend or family member. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give each other is knowledge that empowers us to make better choices. And remember, your heart is worth every effort. Don't settle for fear or confusion. Take action, ask questions, and nourish yourself with wisdom as well as food. The facts about eggs and heart health may not be sensational, but they are liberating. You can enjoy eggs, you can support your heart, and you can thrive well past 50.